Hi, my name is Chris Claremont. You're watching OMNI X-Men.
What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. And yes, that's right. You are watching an episode of OMNI X-Men. My name is Justin, aka No Good Comics. Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, we got another good one for you tonight. We're breaking more stuff down here from our volume 3 of the Uncanny X-Men stuff from Chris Claremont. Of course, a king size annual. We were just talking about how this may be a little extended of an episode, as some of them are from time to time. But we are talking about king size annual issue number 6, which of course, when I say we, it's not just me. I have my co-host here, my man John from John's Comics with Kids. John, whoa,
I've come to suck your blood. Yes.
We got vampires and sexy Storm tonight. Come on.
All night you have to talk like that.
I'll do the entire show like this, and we will count 1, 2, 3.
How's it going, man?
I mean, I jumped on to Morbius's show earlier, so I am absolutely cranked right now.
Nice,
that guy is hilarious. I was dying. Paul was there. John Big Daddy was there. Michael Sove Collector was there. It was a lot of fun. So if you guys missed it, jump over to more. I'm wearing the Morb swag just to represent. He had a great topic. A lot of fun always over there.
I assumed you were there because I saw you pouring a drink as we were about to start.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got me drinking.
Drinking. I'm with you, man.
Usually don't pregame this show.
By the way, check out these little glasses I got.
What?
Yeah, Lego, man, in the glass. How cool is that?
That's epic.
Got it from Lady No Good. I forgot to show them off. This was like a Christmas gift a few months ago.
Yeah, I just have a basic tumbler here, but I'm doing having a little whiskey. So cheers to you.
Cheers, brother. Cheers.
And I'm very excited because of our guest tonight.
Yes, of course. And as I was mentioned backstage, don't think we actually streamed together before, but I know I've talked to him a ton, supported his channel a ton. I know he does a ton of fun reels and videos and TikTok and everything else. So yes, you, Joel, as he backstage here, my man Joel the Geek.
How's it going, man? One of the first cosplayers and Instagrammers and YouTubers and TikTokers that I really connected to was Joel. And I've been laughing with you and chatting with you for years. I feel like you just absolutely are. We're kindred spirits here, man. You crack me up, and I just love the positive comic energy you bring, man.
Cool, thanks.
Absolutely. As I say, Joel was probably the first to follow up with my here we go at the LCSs. Only he would show like a Dunkin' Donuts or like something else.
I did a sandwich. One time I did a chip. I think I've done like anything that was just in my car. I would
whatever you were near. Yeah,
he
I love it.
Inspired me to start doing it too. So the both of us were going back and forth with like, how do we screw this up? How do we mess this up?
So funny. Well, we appreciate you, man, jumping on board here. And of course, for those who are not following Joel, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below.
Search Joel the Geek anywhere. You're gonna find the right guy.
Yeah.
There aren't many Joels out there, so and I know 2 of the other content creators.
There you go. So let's see. Before we get into everything, there's a couple news, couple announcements that we want to kind of throw out there. Well, one, as a reminder, stick around for after the show because yes, we are going to be asking our questions based on last episode, which if you missed it was over on John's channel as we broke down technically a special edition of X-Men 1. The reprint. So with our good friend Paul from Back to Back Comics. Yeah, so we had talked a little bit about the main series, but then also focused our attention to the last 11 pages of that reprint. So so we'll be asking questions about that. And if you're new or you're not familiar with why we ask these questions, it's because we give out a ton of stuff at the end of the season. So usually around June, we'll be giving a ton of stuff away. And one of the things that we give away, we've been at least starting to do, throughout these seasons is have artwork, a commission piece be done by someone, whether they're from the community or,
and I'm just going to say, he's done that. He's paid for it. Legit, it's been on this guy right here until now.
Now
I'm
we're
now
teaming
finally
up,
carrying my weight.
You've always carried your weight. No, but between that and then we do the mystery boxes and everything else, we'll have all that stuff. And so you want to make sure to answer these questions tonight. But so just to share with you guys, because we have been trying to work kind of behind the scenes on getting this commission piece and what we're going to do for it. There's still some questions in the air as far as what the artwork's going to look like, what character or characters are going to be involved. But we are excited to announce the actual artist that is on board with us for doing this, and it is our good friend Tim Stacey. I put his information in the description below. Definitely check him out if you don't know Tim. I met him virtually through the Team Nerd Herd podcast, and he was doing sketches on their channel while they did their like hour-long show. He would just hang out and do a sketch, and I think they'd like give it away. I have one actually. I have a punchline. I should have had that ready. I have a punchline artwork from him that I won from their show. So really, really cool person. So a nice guy overall, family man, loves comics, loves sports. Could talk to him about a ton of different things. So definitely check him out. We're gonna have him featured on here at some point, right, John?
Yeah,
probably for the reveal and things like that. So definitely reach out to him. Otherwise, if you get your name on the board for these questions, throughout the rest of the season, you have a shot to win that commission piece. So definitely
we're going to try to make it something centered around this third season of Omni X-Men. So we're thinking about a bunch of different options, but we're not going to let you know what it is until the reveal. So be ready.
Yes, exactly. So with all that said, let's say a quick hello to the chat, and then we'll jump into the king size annual 6 for X-Men here. Of course, we have our good friend Ryan kicking it off. What's up, Magic Lasso in the house, saying hello to everybody. Mentioning Rachel dinners, which we talked about. That John, great point tonight that there is going to be some dinners.
There's a Rachel dinners important moment tonight. We're just going to be there for it. Be ready.
How does Dracula order his coffee? Answer decaffeinated.
There it is.
Decaffeinated. Nicely done, Ryan. Nicely done. Let's see. We also have our good friend Candace in the house. What is going on, Candace? Good to see you. We got Kenneth Bird tonight hanging with us as well. Hello, Kenneth. We got Big O hanging out with us as well. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for stopping by.
I'm just checking my watch because I was on time, but some other bum in the chat was running late. I don't know who that guy is.
Whoa, yeah, take a screenshot, folks.
Cyclops is awesome. But he's the second best leader of the X-Men, maybe.
I don't know about that one either. We have to have a whole nother podcast. We have to have about leadership in the X-Men and who's the biggest jerk.
I mean, you know what? It's a great point, Joel, because I've been reading like Jason Aaron's Wolverine and the X-Men, Uncanny X-Force, Astonishing X-Men. It's been fun to see other people besides just Storm and Cyclops as a leader. Kitty Pryde's had some turns. Wolverine's had some. It's been interesting. So maybe a ranking of the best leaders of the X-Men would be in order. Everybody, though, agrees Professor X would be last.
Bottom of the totem pole here. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody who's hanging out right now. We got 11 people with us, so make sure you smash the like button. So we're gonna get into. I will say I have the issue here. Before we get into all that, John, let's do a couple of questions for our man Joel here. You have something you want to ask him?
Yeah, I'm going to go outside of our normal list of getting to know Joel questions. Joel's a cosplayer. You can see that amazing Dr. Fate helmet he's working on behind him there. It looks incredible. So, Joel, here's my question for you. Firstly, who is the best dressed mutant character? And second, what is their best look?
Love it. Great questions.
I am a big stan of this person, and she hasn't gotten too much. Well, she's had a recent short comic book series. That would be Dazzler, Allison Blair.
Woo! You just made a best friend of Magic Lasso. I'm just telling you right now.
We already are friends. We talked about Wonder Woman. Now we've got this other thing to talk about. Right? For me,
I didn't do anything.
Good thing this isn't live. Oh, it is.
Get out of here.
So what was the second part of that question was what's her best
which look? Because obviously, like, we have the original like white jumpsuit look for her, but then we also have the like she had like a bandana in the 80s, and she's got a modern era look. Like, what's her look for you then?
For me, the look is the look that I first know her as, and that was when she was in the Australian team after they all the mutants and they had to hide out. She had this like cat suit that had some extra like bandanas and stuff on it, and she
had a blue one around her forehead, right?
Or like finessed power sets where it was like she was shooting lasers with her fingers, like she was doing finger guns.
Yeah.
Literal finger guns. But she's had so many great looks. And then I do like punk rock a lot. So when she had her issue where she was just where Mystique had taken her and done some horrible things to her, and she went punk, like that is another one of my other favorites that she's had.
That's a phenomenal answer, dude. That's fantastic.
Awesome. Love it.
Sorry, did you have a question you wanted to do, Justin?
Yeah, I was going to completely change it up here, Joel. So if a train leaves New York at 10 o'clock, no calculators. No. So no,
Westchester, New York. Or
Clarify. No, my question for you goes more towards the artist side of things. So when it comes to any artist that has worked on any of the X-Men run or mutant run, just anything that has to do with mutants in general, who is your like number one artist throughout time?
Number one X-Men artist? Oh, that's a hard one. I'd have to say, oh man. There's been so many great ones. This is hard. Oh.
Everybody's taken their shot, right? Everybody's had their turn.
Yep.
I think I'd have to go with Sienkiewicz because just the amount of like stuff he did with the New Mutants,
right?
And of course, this issue we're gonna do.
I'm gonna make Justin put a pause on this series 1 year and just do the Sienkiewicz era of New Mutants. Just the first omnibus of New Mutants.
Yeah. Isn't that a really thick omnibus?
It's a big boy.
It's a big, yeah. I would love to. It's on the plan eventually.
Did you buy the Omni? Do you have it yet?
No, but that's
okay.
one.
So now we got to make him buy something. And then we got to. Okay.
You love all this. Take up more room on my shelf. Yeah.
There you
go. But I mean, Bill S. obviously tonight as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Devouring it. When I was reading it, I had to stop a few times and look at the pages and just be in awe.
Totally. Have you ever had a chance to meet him or anything?
I have not. He has not been to any of the cons that I've been to that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to a lot of cons.
Yeah, I feel like I don't see his name a lot. Just
I go to a lot of cons
for shows. But
I've seen his booth at a few cons, but he's always got a big line. He's kind of like Jim Steranko when you go there, and they're both just like these like godly celebrities. Yeah. So I get it. I'll like
Chris. Like
yeah.
You just got to break in the night before, like I did, and sleep over, and then wake up, and then just be there before the crowd. You got to do.
Most
sleep under the table.
Exhibitor badge, but I mean that works too.
Yeah.
So
I'm like breaking through windows, like sneaking. Really dedicated. Quick hello.
It's a live show, right?
yeah. I'll edit that out later. Yeah. What is up, Chet Scotland in the house, my man?
The original Rachel Dinners, yes.
Yes, and was greeted by JP in the chat I saw before too. He says, "Can we go another go around 94 to 143 2-hour episodes?" I mean, those are the good old days for sure. We'll do those. Will be after hours. We'll bring those back. Anything else, John? Before you,
I was just going to ask the quick short answer, quick one, Joel. If you could have one superpower mutant ability from the mutant characters, whose would you choose?
That one is an easy one for me. It would be Colossus.
Ooh, heck yeah.
He's completely solid metal, and like no one can like destroy that. It's just,
and apparently breathes underwater, right?
Yeah, because he's not really breathing anymore. He's not breathe because he's not like, it's not just like, not like the outer layer. Like he becomes his whole body is metal. So he's like
his lungs on the inside still metal, right? It's all metal.
Everything's metal, but like he doesn't really need food anymore. Like he can go into outer space, he can be in water. He doesn't.
My favorite aspect is that he can actually exit a plane anytime of flight and not have to worry about it because he can just land wherever he wants. So
like Captain America when he jumps out of the planes.
Yeah. Exactly.
He doesn't need one.
He doesn't even. Hey, we got our good friend Daryl in the chat as well. What is going on? Read your comics. And on a side note, I thought and I said this in our private chat before, but I thought that we were going to be on JP's channel tonight earlier this week to talk about some other vampire related stuff, which I was like, oh, that's kind of convenient. It ties together. But at the same time, like I said, this is a little bit of a lengthy one, so probably best that we're holding off on that till later this month. But anyways, let's get into some of this issue here. So I'm going to try. John, I'm using the slides built in from StreamYard here.
Freaking love this. This cover, people. This cover.
Yeah. So
I legit remember seeing this cover on the shelf when I was a young guy. This might be where I fell in love with Storm. It might. I mean, we're right near the era of where I would be finding these things on the shelf and looking at. And I saw that. Come on. Come on.
It would be really wonderful if you know how there's the virgin variants these days.
Yep.
A virgin variant of this would be just a chef's kiss.
I would love to see, more of that logo, that symbol behind her, that gold. But you got like, I don't know if it's incense that's burning, but there's like smoke, there's her hair, and there's her dress, and they're all the same basic texture and color and look. And I don't know where one ends and the other begins. I'm having all of it. I think her dress could be made of her hair, and I'd be like, I get it. I see it.
You just go with it. Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. And then you got like all the guys. They're done. They're out. They're all down for the count.
For Cyclops, he's sort of still trying to hold on, like,
he's just aghast, right? He's like, oh dear Lord, my stars and garters. I just love this cover. Everything about it, her face, the look. There's no flaw here. It's just gold.
Agreed.
Try to avoid.
Great point, JP. It would be rather late night for sure. I can't argue that.
So good.
Joel, anything else to add here with this cover? Or
like I said, if there was a virgin variant cover for this, where you could not have the title and the logos and the green thing and the circle, the rectangle, just to see more of that background, and even like instead of just a black background, like more of the building they were in. Like, it also gives me this vibe that's almost like Strange Tales, the book that Doctor Strange was originally in. Because I got some back issues of Strange Tales that I've been reading, and it's just got that same vibe of Doctor Strange, and just the way that Sienkiewicz drew this has that same sort of vibe.
And I love the red. There's the blood red backdrop.
Yeah.
Super creepy. And everything pops off of it. Like everything just is like wham.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't gotten too many of those. I feel like the solid colored ones for the X-Men run that we've been on. So this definitely stands out. I love the detail too of like the bite to the neck and everything else. So
a little blood on Storm's mouth too. Just that.
The dribble.
Yep. Very cool. So let's dive in. So just as a brief kind of opening, and I did add the cover there again as we were discussing. So we get as we mentioned, there's a Rachel in this issue, and this is Rachel Van Helsing. Who it starts out as her at a college that she works at as a teacher. As an art teacher, I think is how they described it. Just showed her and her students kind of going back and forth, and them kind of goofing off, asking questions about like her the relationship to the stories from Dracula, the initial or the one that we all know, and her family tie-ins and all that other stuff. So of course they kind of laugh it off, and she dismisses the kids, and then as she goes goes home, she of course runs into Dracula. And we get this cool dual splash page, I guess is what we would call this essentially.
A spread page, but but it depends on. I think they do it as a spread page, right?
Since they do, but it's technically
it's
like
not split down the middle.
Two panels going on at once. I thought this was really cool how this was done, and just having it be blood fuel. Meanwhile, on the right hand side, we see Kitty Pryde. What looks to be that she's throwing a fit. She's very upset. She's crying. I love, her hands are waving around and swinging while everyone else is trying to figure out what is going on. And I love how her knee or her leg is going through Nightcrawler there, which I thought was really cool too. So with all this kind of as an opening scene, John, what did you think of these panels here?
I think Bill Sienkiewicz is the master of perspective, and really just nothing is normal, right? He likes to low angle. He likes to get in close, be off to the side. He likes to tilt. Like, you look at the tilt here in the Dracula scene, and it's just like, we are really off kilter. You know, that Dutch tilt film style thing going on here. I love it. He also has like a fun like size issue. You look at how big Dracula is compared to Rachel Dinners there, and you get like this fun like perspective shift where she just feels so meek and he seems so powerful.
Yeah,
you know, I think I get why, you know, certain artists appeal to certain readers where you might feel like this is just not for me. And I totally understand. I love trad more. Some people don't, and I get it. What I like about Bill Sienkiewicz is when he's wrong, when he is physically impossible, artistically inaccurate, it's for the sake of mood. It's for the sake of emotion. And it works because it's not trying to be artistically accurate, physiologically accurate. He's trying to be creating a sense of emotion. So fear here or teenage drama on the far side, it works.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think he is excellent at.
Totally. Well said. Yeah. Quick hello to William Bird, who's hanging out with us, who also points out Louis Simonson said Claremont always kept up with the incoming artists at Marvel to scout to make sure he got the top talent on his books. Very cool.
And he would test drive them in the annuals, and that's how Bill obviously got the gig over at New Mutants, because he didn't start at New Mutants, right? They had Bob McLeod, I think, started off at New Mutants, and then they shifted over to Sienkiewicz around the second or third story arc. But yeah, I totally agree. Great point, William.
Yeah. Joel, what about you? What were your thoughts on, just kicking this off?
The last page that I thought was funny, it brought up memories of young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It's not the only time I had that impulse in this issue.
It's like she's trying to correct them and not talk about it. It just reminded me of that whole beginning of that young Frankenstein.
Yes,
where he's
great
like,
point.
Frankenstein!
Yeah.
Just like denying all, like,
stabs his leg.
And as she's leaving, she's like, oh, they just don't understand what it's like to be the daughter of a.
It's so perfect. You nailed it. You nailed it.
And that's that last panel, the last page. Her face is just
Can you go back one? Justin?
Yeah.
Look at her face in the corner.
They're just like super poofy, and her eyes are just giant. Hair flowing, like
so good.
And like you said, these next two pages, just that dynamic of like, here's this shock, and then here's this angst, and like those balance of the two, and just like you said, Sienkiewicz not having it just be a panel where it's straight on, even if it's a full panel. He could have done these shots so differently and paneled them up and make it little smaller panels, but instead he's like one of the reasons I like him is he's not sticking to that box of I need 6 panels on a page. Panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and then like you have all these things, because that Marvel way of doing it is, here's a script. This is what's going to happen on this page. Okay, great. This is what I'm going to make it look like. Just you have that freedom.
Yep. Well said. And I think that clearly we get more of that, and I'm going to jump into the next side here, but talking about the panels and some of the layout, we see some really, really unique and wild aspects, especially this first one here. Just some different angles as we add stuff in, and we're going to see a lot more of that as we go through. So we turn our attention to Kitty again, throwing a fit, very upset. She's most upset because she found out her parents are getting a divorce. And so she's, at that stage, trying to figure out why, and not understanding that, it's, like, oh, your parents, they should just work out. And she's like, do I blame myself? Man, maybe I should have been there. Maybe I should have, not been to the school and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, the team, Storm and the rest of them are trying to, make her feel better. But she's very upset, about the divorce. And so I'm going to just jump. So I had to put this on its own panel, because this was like, I posted this early on Instagram. This thing just stood out to me as this panel. Yes, a literal fire. Like, it really is so. And John, to your point of like the emotion that comes out of these things, and what he has done with this, even just the effects of,
or even the lettering. Look at the word hate, or the line work around.
Yeah, it's like
word.
Edged. Yeah, absolutely. So this was just incredible to me. Before I even go any further to that, then Joel, anything you want to add in here with just kind of seeing her
As someone who's a child divorce, this was one of the reasons I got into comic books, is this escapism for me, but also this ability to connect with what I was feeling.
Yep.
And even reading this as an adult, like going, I know exactly this emotion that's here. These tears, and then no one knowing how to like console you,
totally
help you. But also it's kind of funny, like you have these adults who like have had this sheltered life of like being teenagers, having to deal with like adult issues, and now there's an actual teenager in their midst, and there's no adult who knows how to like handle her, and they're like,
well, and they've hilariously like tried to make Wolverine and Cyclops and Nightcrawler seem like they're these mature 30-year-old guys. They're not. They're supposed to be. I mean, Wolverine obviously the exception, but they're all supposed to be in their like early 20s. But none of them act that way. None of them are treated that way.
Maybe 15. Depending on the writer and artist, but just like the emotion that Sienkiewicz is able to get, and then like you said, that right there, that I hate you. Like I don't know who the letterer was on this, but to have to like letter that and make that
pay them out, pay them all the money,
Yep. And I love that it was all yellow knockout. Like you didn't need any background or anything to take away from.
You need to have a room in there. It's just. This is her inside what she's dealing with, and showing it like the emotion and the connection of the mental as well as the physical.
So, and with that, I always clarify. So I've read this twice. First time around, I did read it digitally. Second time around, read it in the omnibus, and getting to some of these pages, and even more that we'll get into, like certain ways that the panels are angled and stuff, like things that just hit you. Like this is a moment that really takes you out of anything else, where you're just staring at just this moment and really feeling her emotion. So really creative, really well done. One thing I wanted to highlight here, Daryl said that Sienkiewicz was offered the regular gig on X-Men and turned it down, said he was worried about his style hurting the top-selling book, which is wild.
I don't believe that at all.
Crazy.
Oh no, wait, he said I wouldn't believe it, so I'm sorry I had to say it.
True.
It's true. I learned last week on this show, never doubt Daryl.
It's true.
Never doubt Daryl. Daryl's always right. I learned I had to do several mea culpas on Instagram just to make up for all the shenanigans I tried to pull on my show.
Wear a button now, John, that just says "Never doubt Daryl."
What would Daryl do?
We gotta get these. I love it. We gotta get these shirts.
Yep. Never doubt Daryl. That's what we need. See, write that shirt down, Justin.
Got it. Got it. Noted.
Daryl.
Noted. All right, let's keep this going here. So again, talking about some of the panels and also just some of these knockout backgrounds. We get a lot of that coming up in some of these panels. So essentially, Kitty, as she's like, upset, she goes to her room, she slams the door, and she kind of falls asleep. And then next thing you know, hours go by, she wakes up and gets visited by Storm, which again, we've related this to or we've seen some of this from issue 159, which we've broken down just about a month ago or a few weeks ago. So seeing some of the tie-in and knowing the history of how Storm had become kind of, Dracula's, what do you call that? I guess I was going to say like associate or her,
mistress.
Yeah. Someone that's just kind of like under his spell in a sense.
Yes, I've cast my spell onto her.
Yeah. So, reading this now, especially knowing issue 159 and how we kind of gone through that, I'm kind of been hesitant to like, what is real? What is not? Is it a dream? Is it not? You kind of don't know. But yeah, so essentially she gets attacked. She gets bitten by Storm. Storm throws her off to the side. Love that middle panel with like the black wall there. And then after that, it shows Storm visiting each of the other team members and biting each of them, which again, digitally, I loved reading this just because it went panel, like back and forth on my iPad. So it looked really, really cool. But a lot to talk about with just these panels here. So John, I'm going to pass it to you. What were your thoughts here? And especially like even from the artwork perspective, like the lighting on Storm's face and everything else. Like,
so I read this, like I said, a long time ago. I don't actually own this book anymore. I don't know what happened to my copy of it. I definitely need to go and purchase one. It's partly due to my feelings about annuals in general. But yeah, this is like my friend Alec Whitewell Comics would say this is like where a talented artist knows how to use light. Right? Knows how to use and control the light. and you look at Storm's face right here next to these two different versions of Storm, different emotion coming across. You look at that one when you said with the big black space in the background and the crumpled body of Kitty. And then you look at what happens on the far side where you have silhouettes of Storm and people left, unconscious, and that slow gradation of white to yellow to orange to red as she goes down, the close up on her mouth. There's some just absolutely beautiful story work happening, not in the writing, in the art. Yeah. And I think that's where a talented artist steps up the game, and a writer doesn't have to carry the load and explain what's happening in the artwork. The artist can carry the weight, and I think that's what's happening here.
Yep, agreed.
And that's maybe why Lasso. Maybe that's why I need to start buying more of these, because clearly they're all about my lady.
Very true. I was looking ahead and just seeing some of the other annuals, and I forgot, I think it was annual 9 where Storm is again front cover. So yeah, very, very true. Joel, anything to add here? What did you think of some of the different coloration that they use, especially on those far page there?
It's great that, like I said earlier, Sienkiewicz wasn't letting the usual norms of what goes into a panel get his way. We could have had, when Kitty's jumping at Storm, that yellow background could have been the room. The fact that she's leaving the door and we realize the room's been dark the whole time. That's the only light that was coming into the room really was from the window and from the doorway. And to put that one panel, and it's really great because the panel before, it's all this internal dialogue of Kitty, and then you come to this next page and there's just that big panel. There's no words, like you just said. It's all in the artwork. Yep. She's just lying there in a heap, unconscious, and there's Storm leaving. And then, like you said, that the next panel, those gradient of colors as she's going from room to room to room.
Yep,
it's really great. Just wonderful work by both the artists, the penciler, the letterers, all of them coming together to make this book is really great.
Totally agree. Yeah, Candace, absolutely.
And it's kind of cool that these issues, separated by months, both got to have the same artist. That kind of continuity does not happen often. So to have Bill Sienkiewicz do both of those issues to complete this sort of 2-issue story, it's kind of cool.
Yep, good point. Well, moving on here, we do get a little bit. So as she goes and basically transforms into this bat that then visits Dracula. It's kind of a way to tie in and remind us again, of issue 159 and how it talks. Again, I liked some of the verbiage here and the narration, I guess you can say, and even how it kind of closes out. No words are spoken between them, none are needed. This dark yet romantic vibe between the two, definitely. And again, with the artwork and everything else, the shading, especially that bottom right hand corner. And then it goes right into her.
Wait. I'm going to stop you.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
I did not need this. I don't need this creepy bat storm where she's kind of now a man.
It's that era of
it doesn't work for me.
Shape shifting,
somebody. I don't know who's editing this. Let me see who's the editor on this one.
I just think
okay, Louise Simonson.
What the F?
Louise Simonson, get back to work. Tell Louise 5 panels.
No, that explains it right there. It's Louise.
Louise.
She had power pack these children.
5 panels here. She's wearing I don't know why. I don't know what's happening. Louise, come on. You just rein the guy in. He's doing good work overall. These are 5 panels we need to reject. We need to go back. There's some editing.
What's up, Bobby?
Just don't like when you're treating your girl Storm.
I'm just saying. I didn't need this. I was vibing, and then I turned the
American Werewolf in London. So we got it. He's on that level. It's the same level.
So Justin, I read this digitally for the show. I went back, I read it digitally on my phone. I was not happy about it, but then I read it in the Omni, of course, after. But I forgot. So I went from like upper left corner there where she's in the dress and walking, and then to that face close up.
Bam.
And I was like, oh, okay, it's dark. And then the next panel, and I was like, she became a dude. Like, what happened? I was not prepared for the transition that happened.
That's not dude. It's very like asexual. There's no...
It is.
Yeah.
That's a good description. That's a good description. But I was like, what happened to the dress? And then a little bit later, the dress is back. I wasn't ready. I was not emotionally prepared.
Candace says Storm is not so sexy here unless you're into creepy. Yeah, some people might be.
Comics Will Break Your Heart. Jen and I talk a lot about monster crushing. Where's my I want to crush the monster. I get it. I don't want to crush this monster.
Yeah,
I'm not ready for this. Maybe it's on me. Maybe emotionally, I'm not ready for this.
Maybe we need to have a discussion afterwards.
We could have a separate discussion about the man bat. Yes.
What's
Good,
going
Bobby.
on, Kelly?
It is the man bat.
We got the drag going in. Yeah, the man bat. Yeah, you guys are too much.
I did this little rant just for the chat. So
this is great. There you go.
There you go. Just to get Dustin to die.
Like my subscription number is going down. So what is going on?
Sorry about that. Let's go on to the next page. There we go. Now, this is what we're here for. This is where we're back. Now
So Storm wakes up. She's in a cold sweat, not sure exactly what's going on. Is happy that it was a dream, at least what she thought it was a dream. Seeing all that what we had just looked at. And then she checks on Kitty, says goodnight to her. It seems like Kitty's awake as she kind of flies off. Do love that center page there, though, of Storm kind of taking off. But now, she feels, she has to do something about this. She's being kind of called or drawn towards Dracula and what's going on. So she takes off. Meanwhile, you have Kitty, who seems a little off. At this moment, we're not quite sure what's going on, but she watches Storm fly away and seems like this is happening as if it were part of her plan of some sort, which again, we're not sure of at this very moment. She does figure out, I need someone. She references not getting all the X-Men on board, but that she wants to get somebody. So of course she goes to Peter, who easily is like, yeah, I'm down. We do see some behind closed door moments here at the end, which, it's like, oh, what's happening there? But yeah, we kind of leave it to our own imaginations of what's happening. But and then jumping back, we see Storm actually heading off to what is England? I think.
England,
yes, yeah.
So before she flies across the entire ocean, like that's a lot of, and it says it takes her a day.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work. That's a lot of flight time.
Yep. Use that weather.
She should just catch if she caught the Lear jet, she'd be fine. Like just fly to catch a plane.
Blackbirds, like they do have the Blackbird at this moment.
She could have totally caught a flight and not spent a day using her powers to fly across the ocean.
She's gone to the sub-basement, taken a Blackbird, Yeah.
You
got dozens of those or something? Like, oh no, we've lost one. Oh, we got another new one now.
No.
I
do think up there at the top in that amazing pink panel where she's transitioning out of her nightgown into her costume, I needed a Shazam. Shazam! Bam! Like she just, I feel like they tease this idea that like she has the ability to just change costumes like Jean Grey did. I don't think it ever is explained as like part of her mutant abilities that she can just, because nobody else does this. I know Wolverine can sew. And like we've seen time and again that Wolverine can put together a costume in the middle of the Savage Land without any tools.
That's true.
But her Shazam ability, she is absolutely flexing here. Just like, boom, I am now changing costume and taking off.
It's like the artist and the writer were like, well, we need her to change costume. Like they really didn't need that panel between the panels, but like, they were like, put something there, and someone was just like a background of like electrical redness for.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like this isn't like an anime where like she has to have her magical girl power transformation or something.
Quick hello to Gore Vidal in the
He's
house.
got a great point here that I think Read Your Comics should become aware of. Apparently, Bill S. turned down drawing Uncanny X-Men. He thought his art style would alienate X-Men readers. I didn't know that. So Read Your Comics. There's some new information for you.
Boom. Let's keep this going here for a second. So we get to England, like you said, in a day, and she breaks into this castle, which we get to see this greeting of a dinner we referred to before, as we see Rachel Van Helsing, who's in the beginning of the issue, is back here now, and yeah.
So
go ahead, John.
Rachel has a dinner
Apparently.
right here in the middle of this. I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, we have to connect.
Rachel has made dinner.
Yeah.
So this is Rachel's dinner.
This would be the first appearance of Rachel's dinner.
Gotcha. Rachel's dinner right there, middle panel. Storm looking at it, and questioning all of it.
This is basically
she's saying like, Rachel dinner. This does not seem right to me.
Yes.
Something about Rachel dinner is wrong.
This is a key, ladies and gentlemen. This is a key.
Issue. Rachel's is a key issue. It needs to be slabbed. It needs a high number.
Yes, and yes. Hey, quick hello to my man Guy Forge. What is going on, brother? Impressible Defects. Good to see him in. So we see enter Dracula as he comes in, and it starts to basically explain the situation that he needs her help with something in particular. She tries to kind of talk back to him, and he shuts that down. He's not having it, and it immediately kind of shows his power. And as you can see, Storm kind of knocked out there at the bottom far corner afterwards. So he clearly has power over her still, and again sharing kind of the blood that he had after his bite from issue 159. So we get a little bit of history here with that again. Yeah, John, would you?
Good guy. Sorry. We all thought it, but he said it. There it is.
But then Magic Lasso had to add the next part.
In
a dome. Dome cheese. Hey, this is England. They put
that last panel is spectacular.
Yes. Hey, we got Adam in the house. What is up, Adam? Make stuff up.
So no, it's not a family. It's not a family. That one is on his channel.
Not what this guy on there. All right, let's keep it going here. What did you guys think of some of this stuff? Because we get through a little bit of the planning and get an understanding of what's happening here. Like I say, clearly Dracula is in charge, and again is expressing or explaining to Storm why he needs her help in going to this old building, or I guess a castle, I guess we call it, from what Van Helsing is from and what she had initially did. Now she's clearly also under his spell now too, so she's working for Dracula, and I don't think she's happy about it per se, but she can't really help it. So yeah, they are going into this the castle that the Helsings used to live in or own, which is like essentially booby trapped and anti-Dracula. So he needs someone else to go in there. Yeah,
lots of garlic.
Pretty much. There are booby traps that are discussed in this book.
Did you say booty traps? Because that's what we saw earlier.
Booby traps.
Booby traps. Sorry.
Joel, what are your thoughts on kind of where this story goes?
It's wild. It's so wild. Like you have the beginning of the first two or three panels, and there's Van Helsing and Dracula, and then we jump to the X-Men, and then we jump. So like that means Rachel's had 2 days to make this meal, possibly, if you think about it, because there's the day that Dracula comes to her house, and then we see everything going on with Kitty. So it's either that's taking place at the same time, and then we find this, which the only Dracula's not eating this dinner.
Yeah, who else is gonna eat this? Right?
She made this meal for herself,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's barely any microwaves in this time period,
and there's a flight. She had a whole day of just travel.
Well, however they traveled back then, I don't know if she got.
She said she flew. She said Storm said she flew. So
yeah, Rachel, how did she get from the university she was at to this place? And it's just
right.
It's a wild that's the thing I love sometimes about comic books. It's just time frame,
The
and
hilarity of the suspension of disbelief.
yeah, like her changing her outfit in this one issue where she had this magic ability to change it, and you never see that ever again.
Yep.
Like, so like it's just, but the thing is, it's like a MacGuffin. They had to have a MacGuffin, and the MacGuffin is they're having dinner.
Yep.
Rachel's dinner.
Again, that Rachel dinner is key to this.
Rachel's like, I'm making a dinner for my lover, Dracula. And she interrupts this dinner, like, how dare you be in my house? Like, just, yeah, so it's interesting. And then, like, immediately she's in this, like, green cat suit spy outfit out of nowhere.
Hydra.
Yeah.
Adam, good call. It totally.
She's absolutely wearing a Hydra. The same one. I think it's the same one that Kitty was wearing with Ilyana in the last issue.
Yeah, there you go.
Sharing outfits.
So with her belt that she has there with the green and everything, the yellow belt kind of reminded me of Romanoff a little bit.
Yes,
and just
it does have Romanoff look to it.
Totally
kind of vibe there.
Shout out to one of the best gender swap cosplays. If you haven't seen Joel as the male Black Widow, nailed it.
Nice.
Just pay it out right now. Pay it out.
Nice.
We got a lot of like abusive Storm going on here, throwing her around up here. The one that made me giggle though is the bottom one where he's shoving her with that big old hand, the Dracula hand, and she's doing like a oh baby, like she's doing like I kind of like it, but I don't know what's going on right now. I can't. I feel like sometimes she's a little too into the physical abuse in this issue.
Yep, she can't help it.
You know, and then of course you get the amazing like finger. Like, well, I guess it's
so
this one where it's like. Dracula's doing this. He's like, "Hey, I'm telling you, I'm in charge."
Out one.
Yeah, I love it.
You like this too.
It's a little buck wild. I will say we're in the this is the chapter of this annual that I like the least. There's a ton of info dump going on here. I think and Joel mentioned some of the like MacGuffin exposition dump stuff that's going on here, where it's just like we got to move the plot now. Like we've done like fun with the art and characters, but now we're gonna do plot, and it gets a little wild.
It's completely different. Like
I feel like John hits a little different on No Good's channel. I mean, it's partly because I pre-gamed this on Morbius's show.
Johnny Boy's a little loose.
We're 47 minutes in. We're not even halfway through this issue. So
we're getting there. We're getting there. We're halfway through the slides. I'm good here. I'm good.
Sorry.
So one thing I should have highlighted too was that's part of you mentioned, John, with the info dump is Dracula is mentioning that there is this book that has this spell essentially that can kill or remove or obliterate, I think is the word he used, the obliteration of vampires. And he wishes that she steal it. So that's what Storm is going to get for him. And when she does, on the far panels, you can see that that plan doesn't truly go to work as she gets shot in the back.
It's like, holy crap!
By Kitty Pryde.
This is like D&D. All of a sudden, she busts out the crossbow.
Yeah, the crossbow. I was like,
what
damn.
era are we in? The crossbow is the weapon of choice here. You can get a pistol. Like, you can get a gun.
Yeah. Talk to Moira. She knows all about that.
I can get you a pinky toe.
So, as we jump into this, for just a second, she realizes that Kitty is there. She's not playing games. She's essentially trying to kill Storm.
Yeah.
And as she gets closer, Storm just like waves her away with power of wind. She goes flying. But as she does that, we get Colossus just bashing through the door. You know, after we were wondering kind of where we left off. Wall, excuse me. Yes. Bricks everywhere. Yeah. He totally. I
mean, it's a door now.
Yes. An entryway. Recreating entryways. So.
Little slide,
love the slide. Yeah, this angle here that we see, or this way I should say, as he comes through the door, and they get the book, and wanted to just kind of highlight that a little bit more. You get this purple fancy book that Kitty Pryde is holding up, the same one that the Storm's going after. Some really interesting artwork here, again with Kitty Pryde's face. Doesn't really look like the character, but I do get that kind of, John, to your point, what you're saying with feeling emotion and really getting that out of what is happening, because this character, and also hinting that, hey, this is not really Kitty Pryde, right? Like, we're still trying to figure out exactly what this is or who this is, but we don't know. But it's definitely So I think this was accurate to how this, how he had drawn her up here. So again, different, but a lot of reasoning behind that. And then of course the cops show up down at the bottom. That's never a good thing. So
with their laser beam guns.
Yes, the freaking lasers.
They have high tech. They don't have the cross. They're not firing crossbows.
No, no, they do not. And then, of course, we go right into this is like the third chapter here, which we're back in Cairo, which is where Storm, has grown up. Only she's an adult here. This is, as she noted, used to be a place where they kind of viewed her as a goddess, which we just talked about last issue as we got, kind of reviewed a little bit.
William Bird says Colossus is doing his Kool-Aid Man impression.
Oh, yeah.
He has a Russian accent. Oh yeah.
So,
really harsh.
Storm, by the way, this issue is pulling a Kitty Pryde. She's going through more wardrobe changes than I have seen any character in a single issue go through.
She's going through more wardrobe changes than Padme Amidala did in the first.
Yes, that's a high bar.
There you go.
It's impressive. It's almost like every page she's costumed in a completely different fashion. So she's like up at the top there where it's like that face, and she's wearing like what looks like a black costume. But then she's wearing a white costume right here next to me, and a white one in the middle.
It was a scarf, and she's got a black scarf with a white outfit.
It's like the lighting changes. I love it makes no logic sense, but thematically, emotionally, makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Right? It affects that concept that Justin was hitting on earlier of like what's real, what's not real, what's really happening here. I love all of it.
Yeah. I do like that Dracula scarf. They brought that back up again. Yeah. Compared to
it's a perfect two-parter. These two issues.
Yeah. Now with this again, this being a flashback and looking back at things, she sees her parents again, which is like totally. It is kind of like refreshing that we had just read, the reprint prior to this. I find that I feel like it should have came in this order because it would kind of re-prep the reader to like, oh yeah, that's right. Like we. Just a reminder of some of her history. But, seeing some of this, and then she goes through this like trauma again with, trying to save her parents through this plane crash, which we had kind of known about prior to this, but not too much of the detail, but kind of seeing it go down again and her being too weak to like actually do anything about it. She had described that her powers were not really there. And so it basically played out exactly the same as she had remembered it. And then of course, on the far side, she wakes up to Dracula, who, put her in a box, put her in a coffin as a place to sleep, and says, "Oh, sorry, I forgot that you don't like being in tight quarters."
There's almost a comedy, like back to the Young Frankenstein reference that Joel perfectly made at the beginning of this.
Yes,
there's this like attitude of like, oh yeah, I totally know that you're claustrophobic.
You don't like that,
and I put you in a coffin. Oops. Like Dracula is very much like an intentional a-hole in this sequence here, and it's clearly psychological warfare, and I think there's something fun about it, but it reminds me of like a Mel Brooks like Dracula Dead and Loving It moment where he's just like, oh, location is everything, sorry. Oops.
I like that Storm also not knowing kind of where she is and everything. She checks her teeth right away to see if she's still human, still alive, which I need that check in. I feel like with these Dracula type stories, because you just don't know what's real, what's not, who's dead, who's not. So yeah, I kind of like that they took the moment to do that, and it's a cool kind of close up panel. But yeah, from here we get a lot of wildness as basically as he's about to bite her, and again, John, to your point, she does get beat up even more so here with the hair pulling and everything else.
Yes,
it is brutal.
But the X-Men grabbing her neck, he's throwing her against furniture, he's slapping he slapped her in the last panel, and then he's pulling her hair.
We got the famous like
kink going here.
I wouldn't call it kink, I just call it like domestic violence.
It's not domestic violence if it's just Dracula and he's like forced you to be there. It's violence. I'm saying it's not domestic. He's not married to her or anything. Like
it still counts as domestic violence.
They're blood associates.
I'm just calling it violence. I'm just calling it violence.
It is. Just play up flat out violence.
So we get the X-Men here, who we find out basically track down where where they're playing. Where what's the
Blackbird.
Blackbird.
Can I ask you though, Justin, right here, just for JP, who's having a hard time, who comes to her rescue right here?
Oh,
I see Zark, and I see some people running. Who saved Storm right here?
Oh, Cyclops.
Yeah. Good to know. Good to know.
Good to know.
I mean, it shows us Zark, but we don't know if that's Wolverine throwing something or
That is very true, Joel. Very true.
A new Wolverine sound. You close furniture. It says Zark.
Object blast hairs.
Gotcha.
Here.
That's part of the key features of this book.
Mental
Again, with
note.
Zark. Zark first sound Zark from Wolverine.
Zark first.
So they followed Kitty Pryde and the Blackbird to figure out where they were, able to somewhat attempt to save the day here. There's a lot of action going on, including Rachel, who comes in and as they're all. Is this where I don't want to jump ahead of myself? Oh yeah, where he gets stabbed, Dracula essentially.
Lots of stabbing, lots of stabbing.
A lot of stabbing, and that's actually from Nightcrawler, which I like these panels here where they throw up the blade. It was being thrown at first at Cyclops. I should clarify, the spear. Then it's turned around by Wolverine, who then tosses it to the bamfing Nightcrawler. Which
I love it. Yeah, he bamps
really cool
to catch it.
Yeah,
and then he bamps to stab him, and then he bamps to get the heck out of there.
The way they like show that movement is amazing. It doesn't feel static at all. It actually feels like you're watching these things move. That's really great for that.
Totally. And then we get, I guess, this really interesting. I should have blown this up. The one on the far side, though, where Rachel is essentially like all black. All you can see are her teeth.
It's so cool. It's like this
so
tiny
cool.
little panel, but it's so freaking cool.
Yep. Exactly.
If you can't see it, folks, the farthest panel at the bottom, way over there, where she's grabbed Cyclops' hand and she's leaning over, but you see her this amazing blonde hair and then no face, just teeth. Love it. Get out of here. Get this guy.
Wow.
Rejected.
Yes, Bobby, Nightcrawler went beast mode. That's for sure. Joel, what do you think of some of these wild action scenes here? And of course,
I said, that middle panel is just great action scenes. And what really shows the movement and the fact that, like, in my mind, that's the thing about panels. There's the stuff that's going on between the panels we don't notice or we don't see, and like it's very clear what's happening, where they're going with this, and what the spear's doing. Yeah. And then also, just like you said, like that little sliver of a panel where it's her face and this movement, and then you see her on top of Cyclops, and she's just the darkness and the horror aspect of it, of her just being these teeth and big beady little eyes and the hair.
Yep.
Engrossing that. It's really great. Just peak Sienkiewicz for me. I think.
And then also jumping forward here with jumping into this next panel, I wanted to show. So actually, as Rachel's attacking Cyclops in that one corner panel, like he doesn't feel like he can shoot her now because she's like not all there. And now we get, and if I was doing gifts, John, this is where we would get the werewolf, the wolf, the castle.
There's so many great Young Frankenstein. I'm so pumped that Joel brought that up right at the intro here, because it's so referential in this.
Yes. So yeah, we get a werewolf, which Cyclops is happy to see because he's like, oh, she's like physical now. I can like hit her with an optic blast.
She's ugly now. I can shoot her. That's what it means, right? She was pretty, and I don't think I can do anything. Now she's a dog. Literally, I can blast her. That's what happened. So to JP's point, he's not so good. I don't know. But you're also getting the reveal here of what Kitty Pryde is clearly not what we thought she was, and she's clearly controlling Peter. So Colossus is not in complete understanding of his facilities. He's he's pimp slapping Wolverine, and
that
they're dropping doors on him. It's all very dramatic as this. There's 3 factions at fight here, right? We've got the X-Men who are in their proper mind. We've got Kitty and Colossus, and then we've got Dracula and Rachel Dinners. We've got these 3 kind of like quadrants all kind of battling.
Yep. Yeah, I love a lot of backhands. That other backhand there.
What's
seeing
up, Johnny?
Wolverine's face is like
Johnny Boy says, I wish I had John's vocabulary so referential.
What's up, Johnny? Let's see. Yeah, dropping things on Colossus. It's been brutal for him. I do like this panel right here, him punching through more wall, doing what he does best as he's going after Dracula, who, by the way, Dracula's like, I'm out. I can't. I'm gonna just.
There's way too many people with my number.
Yeah,
in this house.
yeah. He's like, I'm gonna go downstairs where it's like tight quarters, and I'll just pick them off one at a time and go about it that way. So, so he leaves. He goes to what he calls the catacombs, underneath the building, essentially. Yep. And then meanwhile,
castle without catacombs or any X-Men kind of mansion. I mean, like X-Men mansion has catacombs all of a sudden.
Yep.
Broadcast catacombs. We got to keep the catacombs going. Like that's a formula.
Yep. And the far page here. So I like, love the artwork, the close-ups, especially with Storm. And she, I mean, we talk about leadership. I mean, she reminds Cyclops here that she's the leader. You know, in some of the discussion that they're talking about, you know, Cyclops was explaining kind of how they figured it out and why, you know, how they got here and everything. But otherwise, you know, she steps up as she does and reminds
instantly
him
flashes back to, like, costume wise, Shazams herself back to like I've got my head, I got my tiara back on, I got my outfit back on. I'm not the slave of Dracula.
Yes, Kitty Combs, Adam. Yes.
I will say, like, this is an issue that I think causes a lot of problems for what Cyclops' powers are. I think there's definitely been an ongoing debate about what are his eye beams? Are they simply a physical force that is smashing and hitting? But this implies, and it's maybe just in the artwork, it implies that they create heat and that they melt things, which is why people sometimes get confused and think Cyclops' powers are like lasers where they create heat. But in no other issues do you really see that implication. But you see what looks like steam and melting and like lava. The artwork implies that what he's doing creates heat. But most other comics imply that it's a physical force, that they have a blasting power, but no actual like laser like qualities, where it's not like a lightsaber where he can like melt a door or something, but instead it's a physical energy that creates an impact or a dent in the door. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this issue, I think, definitely like blurs the line a little bit, because you look at what he's doing there, he's melting the floor and clearing a space. And I don't know that that's actually what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll jump into this next panel here because this is where we get this kind of long shot.
Yeah,
him shooting into the
way
ground.
Down. It doesn't look like a force blast. It looks like it's like lava
melting.
Like a weird, like it doesn't. You don't know which it is. It's trying to be both at the same time, and the artist. Yeah, it's weird things.
Yeah.
I will say I love the next panel where they're jumping down and Wolverine's just like his feet are up almost, like he's just arms are crossed, like hanging out, like. Just Wolverine being Wolverine. Yeah.
Great drawings of Wolverine, though. Look at his face and his
love those.
Like, he looks great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love the fact in that one panel there, the far one where it's just his face, you see one of his little ear flappy things from the inside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Curved, and you see the inside of it instead of just the front of it is just it's like showing how like
it's a different color.
Yeah, they move.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we get back down to Dracula, and then another kind of epic fight here goes on, which Wolverine's been dying to get his claws back into Dracula because the first round that they had, you know, he clearly wasn't done. So they're going at it again, as you can see in that second page. Love, as John, as you pointed out, some more close-ups of like the jaws and everything else with Wolverine and Dracula.
Like lots of teeth, like Dracula's teeth and Wolverine's teeth. I love these. He really does, again, perspective, lighting, color. Yeah. He's really doing things to shake it up.
Yeah, and now, like I said, this is technically their second time meeting. I would say Wolverine kind of lost this one too because Dracula bites Wolverine, and just
0 for 2.
imagine, yeah, Wolverine being a vampire and not having control, other than listening to what Dracula says. That's what happens here as he sends Wolverine into berserker mode, flying right back at the team, and especially Cyclops there. Joel, what did you think of that? Just like a quick turnaround here.
Wolverine fighting? What?
No.
Yeah. They're just two lovers who just don't understand their love for each other.
They're just working it out.
They need to work it out. They just don't.
Yeah.
I just, like you said, the second one's his ability to like really pop, and just the fact that second page, the very top panel, his claws are leaving the panel.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not staying in the panel; they're outside of the panel as he's striking at Dracula. It was just amazing.
Same with the far one at the top there.
Right?
I tried to keep them in when I was taking screenshots. I was trying to make sure to keep all those scenes in. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, but it's just amazing just how the movement is with all this, and how you see that transformation for Wolverine. He doesn't get the teeth. There's a part of him that hasn't fully changed, but yet he's in the thrall enough of Dracula to be his weapon, another weapon for him to use, because Storm's less of a weapon than he wanted to. So it was really interesting.
Yeah.
In general, how this plays out.
Yeah. And meanwhile, of course, you get Rachel, who tries to jump Storm on the side here, and still seeing in the middle there. And Storm almost kills her, decides not to, because again, going back to what Storm stands for, and I love her line here, X-Men don't kill. Like, she basically pins Rachel up against the wall, lets her live, as the rest of the fight continues. And on that far panel, we get Kitty Pryde, who sneaks back in here and starts to say these magic words, this spell, that we kind of highlighted earlier from that purple book. I liked, again, reading it digitally. You see the faces as she's like whispering the spell. And then out of nowhere, barely comes in Nightcrawler to kind of break that up. And I'll kind of jump into this next scene here. We get a lot of really cool back-to-backs, especially kind of next to your head there, Joel, of seeing what's happening as Colossus kind of wakes up, the spell that was kind of put in. And then we find out Kitty is not Kitty. She's Lilith, or being controlled by Lilith, who is the daughter of Dracula. So this is what we've all been kind of leading towards throughout this whole issue, and finally getting to now. So John, what did you think of this and reveal and stuff? Even reading this through, like, did you have this inkling that it was her already? I'm not as familiar with Lilith in terms of,
as far as I know, this might be her first appearance. Actually, I don't know that Lilith had appeared before now.
So I think she was in a Dracula issue prior to this, but I don't know when that came out per se.
I think it was a Tomb of Dracula.
Okay.
Yeah. She shows up not very often. Even in the more recent versions of Dracula that came out recently in the last 10 years, she shows up a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, obviously, it's very exciting.
Comic books. I was going to say this earlier. There's some modern comic books that really pull from this and the last issue that Dracula are in, and bring back. It's just fascinating how they do that. It's just fascinating how the writers are like, "Hey,
get the scum out of here. What's going on? What's going on? Troublemakers in the chat. What is going on?"
Yeah, but I loved how there's another transformation. Like, there's a zap of power, and Shadowcat isn't Shadowcat. It's Lilith. Surprise.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was Lilith all along.
All right. For me, there's a third issue to these two, and I wanted to share. This is What If issue 24 that I remember reading as a kid and absolutely loving. What if Wolverine had become Lord of the Vampires? The concept is, in this issue, what would have happened if Storm had bitten Wolverine and turned him into a vampire? What would have happened to the Marvel Universe? Quick answer: nothing good. Like, nothing good happens. That's really bad. It's
the quick
really
answer is Mutant X. That whole comic book, which I'm trying to get issues of, it's that storyline.
It is, and Punisher has to kill everybody. Punisher becomes Blade, and he's like a vampire hunter, and he's just killing everybody.
Oh man.
But it's really exciting. And for me, it's the third piece to this storyline because you're seeing how close the mutants came to being corrupted by the power of Dracula. I think it's really exciting. Of course, Dracula gets away. Of course, Rachel Dinners has to suffer the consequences. And I do love the like tragic end to this story. I think it's really good. Yeah, you should totally read it, Candace. It's a great issue. It's a $1 bin, 25-cent issue. You could find this all day. Just keep your eye out for it. What if Wolverine had become Lord of the Vampires? It really is the
next Morbius movie, and then it's gonna become.
Nobody needs that. Nobody wants that. It's just the alternate end to this. If you thought this end was dark with Rachel Dinners and that amazing drawing of Wolverine's claws and the stake in the far corner, if you thought this was dark enough, like no, we'll go a layer deeper. What if Wolverine became a vampire and then started making the entire Marvel Universe vampires, and Punisher had to go and fix it?
Very cool. By the way, that middle panel in the middle page at the top is I think the third, if not the fourth, backhand that we get in this issue. There's definitely
more practical, actual backhand. Like if you go back a few issues when it's I forget who it is slapping him. Like, oh yeah, it's Colossus slapping Wolverine. Like the way Wolverine is like positioned, it physically doesn't work because the way his hand is moving, like his hand is moving this direction and he's going that direction. It's like
right.
You just like make a 360 as he hit him with his backhand. It's just fun. It's just interesting.
Well, yeah, we get another brutal backhand, and then of course a dagger or a spear that goes right into Dracula, and everybody's kind of freaked out. Like Dracula hits the ground, and then of course we get a flash over to Rachel back in last left, as we saw a couple of pages ago, by Storm, who had the opportunity to kill her, didn't though. And now it appears that Rachel is kind of snapped out of it in those bottom middle pages. She explains that Dracula, now that he's weakened, his control over her is weakened, and so she's able to kind of get a grip as to what's going on. And so she goes and takes him out. Has the cross as she's holding it up there. Dracula screaming no on the floor until finally he turns to skeleton. And then she explains, like, hey, in order to actually kill Dracula, you got to cut off his head, which of course, Wolverine has no problem.
It's a throwback to the Bram Stoker era where you see Van Helsing, even when they've staked or killed a vampire, they still come in later and chop the head off. It's very graphic. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Dracula Dead and Loving It scene where Steven Weber's trying to stake a vampire and gushes of blood are exploding, and then they have to chop it. It's very graphic, the vampire Dracula stuff. But yeah, Wolverine misses out on his chance, of course, because you can't kill Dracula. He's got to come back in some other comic later on. So instead, they bury them all.
Yeah, so the whole thing just comes down. Perfect timing, I guess, for Dracula to kind of survive that. Even though he is skeleton now, he's still not in good shape. But yeah, you get everybody. I do like the little the little action scene in the far corner there of everybody like, we got to get out of here, and it just seems like that's the cover of like 126 or something like that almost. And then I mean, so this next set of scenes here, it gets pretty heavy, I think. Rachel's now moved on. She's done. She feels that she's done all that she could, and is ready to die essentially. Which she asked if anybody would do the honors, and of course this is Wolverine still stepping up, but it was such a just a heavy moment. Like rereading this a couple times, I had to blow this up. Yeah, like really, going in and going for the stab, you get the shook as he stabs her and she falls forward, and feeling kind of at peace in a sense. Joel, what did you think of this as we get the ending of Rachel?
These bottom two panels, the first time I saw them was in another Marvel comic book called the Marvel Big Book of the Dead. It was an encyclopedia back before we had Wikipedia. They made in the 70s, 80s, and 90s these books that were just like an encyclopedia of characters, and they made a whole set of them that were about characters that had died. So the front covers showed these like apparitions coming out of graves. And the one I had her in it. Yeah. And I remember those two panels were in the pages of her origin. And I remember seeing him there the first time going, this is dark, not knowing
Yeah.
hey, I could go and get this issue at a comic book store and read it and see it. And so getting the comic book and now having that, it's like full circle in my like the history of me and comic books. Like, oh, I now own the comic book that has her death and what happened. And it's just like, it's eerie in a way.
Yeah. And that skull is
phenomenal.
I'm assuming that's what Callie's talking about.
That's like ingrained
So
like
good.
in my mind from that comic book, which I think I still have it somewhere. And like to see it in this format in the comic book and then here on the screen, it's like surreal. So surreal. It's an interesting like the Marvel Comics history of the use of Dracula and Van Helsing and all those stories like in their universe and how they've tied it up in this way. It's fascinating to see.
Yeah,
totally.
Well said. As we get to the end here, these last couple of pages, we get back to as they're laying the body down, Kitty Pryde shows back up and it reveals that it is Lilith, and it basically gets the tie into the rest of what happened, why Lilith was even trying to do all this to begin with, as she learned about this spell. I just saw it here and now I lost it on my page. The Montesi formula is what she had talked about, and basically described like the only way that she was going to be able to get this is if she had basically the plans go the way it did, which it all laid out the way that she wanted to in order to get Dracula, even though he's not dead, but essentially buried. So the one thing that I thought was a little weird, because it was like dark and everything, but as it came to like a quick wrap up, the end, she's just kind of like, she says it's been fun, like, and then she just says like see ya, and she kind of just like fades away. Like deuces. Before the rest of the team kind of wake up and they check on Kitty. There you can see everyone gathered around her.
I took it as the one last backhand. She looks at Storm's face. You see that Storm like anger face in the very center of the far page.
Yeah,
and she's just like, I ain't dealing with that. I am not dealing with that. I'm out of here. Storm's like, get out of that, girl.
I can see that.
I'm gonna whoop you. And then she's
I don't know her.
She's like, please,
I don't know her.
Right. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean that face that she gives Storm, she's very disgusted with the whole idea of
and I like that they give the weight of the death of Rachel its due in the final two panels, with Wolverine kind of taking a moment, smoking some whatever, and Storm coming up to check on him, and the sunset, and it allows us to have Wolverine do what he does best, but also show that it weighs on him.
Yes. Good point. Yep.
I think that's a good point, is that the weight it has on him, because when I haven't read that origin of Van Helsing or not, but I remember it gave me the impression that they had history, and the fact that a lot of Van Helsing in these Marvel books was with Blade. Like she showed up a lot in the Blade comic books.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of interesting that like they were allowed to like, oh, we want to use this character, but we're gonna kill her off. And like Louise Simonson is a little dark. Death, destruction. For them to go, hey, we want to kill her off. I'm sure Louise is like, great, do it. I love it. So, yeah, but I like that last two panels of the sun rising and them, the two of them being the loss that they've both had in their lives. Him not remembering a lot of his loss,
sure,
but her being like the whole comic book. It's all these flashbacks of Storm and the trauma and tragedy she's had to have to be there with him to like help him through this grief and loss of someone to have to kill them.
Yep. Yeah. Well said.
Bobby's right. Yeah, Lilith has a Black Canary meets Scarlet Witch.
Really odd. Like they couldn't figure out what to draw her in. So it's like fishnets. Yeah.
Well said, Bobby.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. This is kind of the wrap up here of the issue. Final thoughts, and how would you grade this, John? I will pass it to you first.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. I know that there's definitely some points off, I think, for the weird exposition dumps and some of the stuff that happens in this issue, but I still think this is a whole lot of fun. I'd probably go 8.5, 8.5 out of 10 for me, probably on this issue. I think I liked the first one a little better, but this issue has the better cover. So you combine. It's all one. It's. I have a hard time separating these two. I think they're just and ultimately three because I throw the what if in there as well. I just really enjoy them. They're just a lot of fun. And Bill Sienkiewicz checks all the boxes.
Totally, and early mutant work too. Joel, what about you? What were your final thoughts with the book overall, and how would you grade it?
Reading it brought me to, like I said earlier, Mutant X, because that's another storyline where you go to where a character, Havoc, goes to an alternate Earth where Storm became a vampire. Dracula still dies, and she becomes the queen of all the vampires. And he has this weird, odd relationship with her, and then it leads to, in the recent last 5 years, Blood Rain coming to 616, and so like this book, without it being thought of as this, like it's almost like a crux between storylines that leads to these weird like offshoots of storylines that people end up using later in comics book because they love, like us, they thought this book was like, it was key, it was phenomenal, it was interesting, it was weird, it had some weird. It took a weird way of getting to where it went. So like John said, I give it like an 8 as well, mainly because of Sienkiewicz's work and whoever the colorist was on this. Like the two of them working together did a dynamic job, I think, of this on this book. So.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think that this definitely falls between an 8 and an 8.5 for me. Especially reading it through a second time around, some of these moments were heavy. For sure on the characters. It's definitely not a lighthearted read in any sense with that, and it's also cool. We get a little bit of a glimpse into the stories of Dracula and things like with that. So just different, just very different than what we've kind of been used to. But I do like that it ties back into kind of 159 and continuing on with that story, because the way that ended was kind of like in the air too still. So I like that they kind of touch base on that, and I'm sure they continue on, as John, you pointed that other issue out, amongst others. JP makes a great point. John enjoying this one for the Man-Bat Storm panels.
For Joel, the colorist on this was Len Wein's wife, Glennis.
Glennis.
Yeah. Glennis Wein did the color on this.
Okay.
That's just awesome.
So she's married to Len Wein, the creator of Wolverine and many other great things.
Very cool. Very cool.
And the writer of, like we discussed last week, the writer of Giant Size X-Men.
Yep. I like this. Bobby says 9.0 off white to white pages. Great. Anybody else in the chat, feel free to throw your grades in there. So before we don't go away, because we have questions, we want to jump into that. Before we do, let's get into the money portion real quick. Not much here. I essentially left it as just the main things being Dracula and Lilith appearance. Other than, I should have in here Rachel Dinner's the key dinner of Rachel.
I may need to get a 9.8 white pages of this bad boy, because holy crap, that's a cheap, amazing cover.
140.
Slab that son of B.
Only 107 on the consensus. I imagine it's not an easy book to keep, pristine with those.
Excuse me while I go on eBay real quick.
There you go. So 9.8s, $140, 9.6s, $90. Very doable. Even if you wanted to get a nice 9.0 for $38, fair market value. Again, these are go collect prices, over average, but certainly affordable. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I saw this cover or this book at my LCS, and I should have picked it up when I had the chance. I'm gonna go back tomorrow. Maybe I will get lucky enough to still find it there for like $5 or so. Chat, exactly. First appearance, Rachel Dinner's gotta have it. Chat gives this an 8.5 as well. Very nice. We got John Ross in the house. What is up, man? I agree. Hit that like button.
I hung out with him earlier on Morbius's channel. Good to see you again, brother.
Nice. Also, before we get into these questions, just a quick reminder: if you guys are not following Joel, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below. Joel, man, we appreciate you being here with us. This is a blast. Yeah, heck yeah.
And Justin, you were right. We're right at an hour. No, sorry.
We're about 10 minutes.
We haven't even done the
10
questions.
minutes over my
haven't
my
even done the
goal
questions
there.
yet.
Yeah.
Still early.
I gotta set a goal, and then I kind of stumble. All right, let's get into these questions here now. Quick reminder, of course, we're looking for 2 correct answers. So these are all based on last issue / last episode. If you know the answer, type it out there. If you see someone else write the right answer, write it out there anyways. Because you can still get your name on the board. And then, of course, we're looking for a funny, incorrect answer to go along with. So sarcasm or whatever it is, you got to make this guy laugh here tonight. So whoever Joel thinks is the funniest answer per question will also get their name on the board tonight. So, John, I will pass it to you for the first question.
Yeah, a lot of the new content that came in this issue, special edition X-Men #1, had to do with Kitty Pryde and Illyana exploring the mansion and spending time in all different parts of the mansion and exploring what it had to offer. So my first question is, can you name one poster on the wall in Kitty and Illyana's room? So Kitty and Illyana kind of share a bedroom. Name one poster on their wall. And I wrote down a few that I saw, and I've got the page open here. Some of them I can't tell what they are, but name any one poster that you can tell me what posters were on their wall.
There you go. Hey, we got Lost in Comics in the house. What is going on?
What's up, Chris? Good to see you, Chris. It was not a naked Sue Storm. I'm just telling you, Callie. Kitty Pryde, as far as I know, she swings that way, but not at that age. She was not ready for that. I don't know that anybody's ready for that, except Johnny Storm, apparently. Hey-o! That's a throwback to Johnny Storm running into his sister's room when she was naked, and she didn't go invisible. She decided to stay completely visible. She had that option.
To see this.
She has that option. He's wearing his tighty whities. She has an option to go invisible. That's her only power. Chose not to do it. Just gonna say that. Just gonna say that.
Just gonna put that out there.
All right. So I'm gonna give it to firstly. Tricky.
I was gonna say, how do you want to?
Seeing several correct answers. I do not think it was Elvis. So I'm going Magic Lasso first. There is an Empire Strikes Back poster.
Nice.
In her bedroom. So giving it to, and then I'm going JP. I think we agreed that it was Burt Reynolds on the wall, not Elvis. Get the heck out of here, Chet Scotland. I don't know what you're talking about. So JP Budget Collecting is getting the second vote. We did have, Bobby, you're correct, a Garfield poster. Fact. There is a Garfield poster, and there's also a random cat playing a guitar. It's not Magnum PI. Magnum does not have white hair. We gave up on that. Yeah, we agreed, Callie, that it was Burt Reynolds, which gives points to.
Was it Diana Ross live at Central Park?
Yeah. So now we get into comedy answers. Could have been Diana Ross. I mean, I'm accepting that as a possibility. Sin Beefcake poster. We all love that.
No, I probably know an artist. If I'd commissioned them, they could probably make that. There's a few artists I follow on Instagram who probably would.
Hold on, wait. Jump to Bobby down there. It's Magnum. Chris Claremont claims that that's Magnum. I'm gonna hold this S up here. If you want to blow me up here.
Yeah.
Sorry. This in the corner here, right?
Yeah, go down a little.
Yeah.
Down. Yeah.
This. Sorry. That's Magnum. That gray-haired old man.
That's more like
we're calling that Burt Reynolds. We're not calling that Magnum. Yeah. Tom Selleck is offended by that idea. No, get that out of here. Tom Selleck is mad. He's calling lawyers.
JP said Wolverine sandwich. It was a great sandwich. I mean, that definitely.
And so Kitty has a poster of it because Wolverine likes it. I don't know about that.
Chet is just being honest. Chet, he doesn't remember.
Talk about read your. This is why you don't slab your books, Chet. You got to be able to read them. You got to read the book, and then you can slab the.
He's gonna kill you.
Come on, Chet. You don't slab it first. You read it and then you slab it, and then you open it with the nachos on your hands. You open the book up and take a look. Get out of here. You're at the gym. You're at the gym.
Dazzler.
You know, it's surprising she doesn't have a Dazzler.
She should totally have a Dazzler poster.
There should be a Lila Shanae poster up somewhere. Too.
This is not Wolverine's bedroom. This makes no sense, Ryan. Get the heck out of here. Okay, so Joel, do you have a favorite?
Mine is definitely the Sin Beefcake poster for sure.
Who was that? I don't even remember who that was.
A while back there. I forget who that was.
That was Adam.
Adam gets his second point in 2 weeks.
I fully, in my mind, have Sin
with that big old tail.
I don't know if I should. Oh my, that's
I mean, it's basically what Jen and I talk about all the time. Monster banging, right? Monster banging. That's what we're doing there.
Any one of my fans, I'm a little.
There you go. Go to hell, John, says Chet.
Yeah. All right.
Say hi to Belasco for you.
There you go.
All right, here we go. Your question.
My first question is, who was spying creepily on the girls during their tour of the mansion last issue?
You don't go anywhere in the X Mansion without people watching.
Kitty and Ileana were walking around doing the tour, showing around the mansion, and meanwhile somebody was watching
and ultimately invading a lot of privacy. A lot of privacy questions at the Xavier Mansion
there was definitely a lot of that.
Question marks.
I got
my Jubilee.
All right, I think you got 2 correct answers and a couple of funny answers.
Yeah, so we got Ryan for Professor X. That is correct. JP, Professor X. That is also correct. So those are the top 2 there. Let's see. Candace saying Professor McCreepy, I think is
us. We're
pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. We're the reader.
This guy.
The watcher.
Okay, so Ryan, fact. Greatest pervert in the Marvel universe, right? He sees you when you're sleeping.
Oh man, that's so
he
funny.
sees everything.
Rockwell, Adam says.
I've seen some hilarious drawings of like the Watcher at moments when he shouldn't be there.
Jared Fogle.
There's that whole series about like secrets and like his eye is stolen. So like, I mean,
William Byrd. Okay, too soon.
Yeah,
we're not going there. Oh Jesus, Chet, get back to exercising. What the heck? You're in a common public space, brother. Jesus.
Let's see. Someone being creepy or uncomfortably pervy. It's always Professor X.
This is the sad, tragic truth of the X Mansion.
Joel, any funny ones there that have your attention?
Go with the Watcher pervert. That's
Ryan swinging for the fences tonight.
Nice.
I'm just saying.
All right, John, go ahead. What's your second?
Yeah. Okay. They also go into every single X-Men team member's bedrooms. A lot of questionable privacy moments going on here.
Yeah.
In one character's bedroom, there are 2 framed photographs. It's Wolverine's bedroom. What are the photographs of? What are the 2 framed photographs in Wolverine's bedroom? So many options here. So many ways this could go. And I will tell you right now, I'm assuming the identity of one of them because they don't tell you, but I'm willing to bet who it is. So I'm excited. People are going to have to flip in and be like, wait. Who is it? It's not. JP says it's Jean and Cyclops.
I mean,
oh my God.
And now that their rooms are like
that might be the best answer ever. Jean and Cyclops might be the best answer ever.
I know what my answer is, but I'm not gonna say it because I don't want someone to.
Yeah, JP, stop sharing. JP, stop sharing answers. You already won the comedy answer more than likely, but just you're good for now. Magic Lasso. I mean, that Magic Lasso. That is Chet Scotland level fail right there. That is a high level spelling fail. You didn't even get the first letter.
He then writes again, but doesn't use a name.
Her name doesn't start with a U, brother.
Oh.
Oh my God, he gets even worse the second try.
Yeah.
You see the second try?
Oh my gosh.
And Japanese woman.
Goodness. Oh, goodness.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Folks, if you can solve his spelling challenge, you might get the first correct answer right there.
I'll give you a hint. Why?
You could have searched Google and gotten the correct answer by now. And there it is. Dan Marino. It's Dan Marino. It's Dan Marino. You know, the hilarity of this, JP, is that I typed that in the correct answers I sent to Justin earlier, but I saw the spell check change it to Marino, and I went and fixed it to Marino. Chet Scotland spells it correct.
Oh my gosh.
Spell it correct. This is
nicely done, Chet. Yeah, I'm baffled right now.
But JP still comes in strong with the correct spelling. Yeah, it's Mariko, and I believe it's Carol Danvers, but they don't actually tell you. It's a beautiful blonde woman in an Air Force uniform. And at that point in Uncanny X-Men, she's the only one that would qualify for that position. So I'm saying it's Carol Danvers. You can argue and say it's someone else because they don't tell you, but I'm saying it's Carol and it's Mariko. The two women that we know he's banged at this point in the storyline.
Bobby says it's Magnum P.I. and Burt Reynolds.
It is not, but I mean, maybe comedically it is. It's Morph and his mom.
Morph and his mom.
Damn. I hope that's not one photograph.
Ew.
Damn.
I would have, if I was in the comments, I would have put Madeline and
you'd have put Madeline Pryor at this point. She hasn't even come into the story yet. So funny.
Madeline and Silver Fox, or no, Madeline and Heather Hudson, or whatever her last name is from Alpha Flight.
Oh gosh, yeah, because she's Alpha Prime or whatever they call her.
Heather something is her last name. I can't remember her last name.
Hudson.
That's what I would my answer.
That's hilarious.
Joel,
all right, what's your comedic answer? This took a long time. I'm sorry, my question took forever.
I'm gonna go with Morph and his mom.
Morph and his mom. Cali Comics gets his fourth correct point there. But I think it's. I've looked at it enough times. I'm willing to bet. I agree with Chet.
Can I see it? Let me see. Can I see that page?
Yeah, sure. I got you. Let's see. Ugh. It's right there.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's hard to tell if that could be Carol because it is a uniform.
It's right there. Yeah, it's an Air Force uniform, the blue, and it's got the wings. I'm saying it's Carol, and they've flirted in some of the other issues up to this point.
That he's been with her intimately.
Well, just that they've had a flirtatious relationship. I don't know that they've implied actual intimacy, but they flirted a bunch. Both military backgrounds, both being abused and controlled.
Background.
They've got us ultimately.
He doesn't remember any of it.
And I think she doesn't either. She's had several moments where people have taken control of her and abused her. I feel like they have similar backstories.
I'm changing my answer. It's Mystique in both pictures. Bobby. I'm taking Bobby's answer.
I will throw an extra point to Bobby just for that amazing answer. Bobby Delaghetto, it's Mystique in all the pictures. It's all Mystique all the time.
Well done, Bobby. Well done.
Slow clap to Bobby right there.
All right, I'm done, guys. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Joel's out.
We're walking. We've achieved success, but we still have one question left.
Right now. One more to go. By the way, John, when you're leaning like that, it looks like, and how I have the screen set up, you look like my comics here of the negative space variant.
It's a negative space. Yeah.
The shirt, the blue goes right into.
What's that? John Tyler Christopher. I'm a John Tyler Christopher variant right
negative
now.
Space variant. Well done.
This is the Morbius T in whatever sexy blue it is.
Just like we planned. Just like we planned.
Perfectly.
All right, last question for me. What show? Looking for the name of a show. All right, let's clarify. That's the answer we're looking for. Name of a show. What show were the two stuffed animals from that are on the bed next to Ileana while they were hanging out in Kitty's room? which technically John just showed. So I mean, it is there.
I mean, I've showed that. Yeah, I've
We can
shown
rewind.
It's funny that 3 of our 4 questions came from the same 2 pages.
I was
in
gonna
this
say we
book.
should clarify. Yeah, we were trying to keep everything within the 11 pages. You know, basing these questions, even though we did talk about the original reprint. So yeah, we were trying to keep it as condensed and tricky as possible, but it was not easy.
Let's see. I got 2 correct answers already.
Yes, JP, I think is the first.
Yep.
Do we have someone before that?
Nope.
No, yeah, JP and Candace.
Yes, Candace. Whoop, whoop.
Very
Candace with her 13th point. Good job.
Nice.
Just keep it up.
nice. Let's see. Answer for tonight. Adam says Magnum PI. Yep.
And it's fair.
Yep, we gotta go with it. Comics and Chaos in the house. What is up? What is up? Let's
Which
see.
I'm assuming that's I don't know. There's 2 members of the Comics and Chaos crew, so I'm not sure. I think it's Phil. Hey, Phil, what's going on, Phil?
Oh, okay. There you go.
They've got a really great. They've just started branching from IG over to YouTube. They're doing great regular live streams discussing hot news. Today they were talking about Punisher coming back to Daredevil. So great stuff.
Nice. Callie, that's not correct. So unfortunately, that answer is not correct. No, the question was, what show is the characters from, or are the characters from that were on the bed that Ileana was laying next to? Yeah. So the correct answer was yes, the Muppets. The Muppets was the correct answer. We're just looking for a funny answer here. Jet says to ban Candace.
I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, that's
at least she can spell.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. She even put the.
Chet just fell off the treadmill right there. He just fell
he did.
Just right there. You know, what am I saying? He doesn't do cardio. He does he just does weights. He's just doing weights. He's always
all
arms. No legs.
He's no legs. Skipping leg day.
Chet is the king of skip leg day. He's the king of that.
No one wants to
it's Rage Theo. What's up, Theo? Sorry, brother.
Oh, nice. All right.
He's the other half of Comics and Chaos. And they are Instagram kings, and they're branching over. They're soon going to be YouTube kings. Catch them now. They're almost at 800, I think, subscribers. They're blowing up already, but you got to get over there.
Very nice. JP going with they were both Mystique. Yeah.
It's a movie poster for Mystique's life.
Yeah.
He's now toys.
Chuck and Tiffany.
I'm gonna go with Candace to Chuck and Tiffany. That's a really funny one.
Oh, nice.
Candace doubling down on this round.
Yeah.
14 points.
Is that all? Is that Chet clarifying legs 3 times a week? There you go.
You mean 3 times in a year, right?
Oh,
he's chicken leg Chet. Chicken leg Chet.
Man, John's reading.
He knows that I'm spare tire John, so it's all team play here.
Appreciate it, Theo.
Thanks, Theo, man.
All right, gang. We are. Do you have another one, John? No, we got.
No, that's it. Right? We are done. An hour and 42 minutes.
See, I told you. Boom. You know, we wrap them up
here.
He
said less than 2 hours. He promised it, and he gave it over.
I keep talking for another 15 minutes. Now, any part of it.
So good. Yep. Now we're gonna start back at issue 94, guys. We're gonna start at 94.
That's what you asked. 2 hours and every single issue 94 on.
I want to thank Joel again for joining us. Thank you, man, so much for being a guest. We got to have you on again for coming up in next season, but we appreciate you being part of it, man. Had a lot of fun.
I liked it.
Absolutely. Anything you want to highlight or promote before we kind of wrap up here? Anything you got coming up or that you
I did an interview with another creator named Wayne the Unknown. He'll be posting that in the next few weeks about my cosplay. So that's coming up. And then I usually like to post. I'm posting shorts nowadays on my YouTube channel. So you'll find things like I do Thursday flashback, or what am I calling it? Throwback Thursday issues. So it's all my back issues. I'm just sharing some of my back issues on Thursdays. So
very nice. Love it. Well, make sure you guys are following Joel. I put his information in the description below, and of course, we're going to be back next week over on John's channel. So make sure you are subscribed to his channel as well. We'll be there 9 o'clock for a big issue.
we're going to be apologizing for all the things I've said to Chet tonight because Chet's joining us to talk about.
Chet's going to be like, all right, here we go, Johnny.
Yeah,
boy.
he's going to give me a lot of grief, and we're going to be. I got to dig it out here. Yeah. Whoa, we're going to be talking about.
Whoa.
God Loves, Man Kills.
Oh, it's such a good storyline.
What I consider to be the greatest X-Men comic book of all time. I know that that's a high bar, and there's a lot of things. And Justin, I don't know if you've ever read this before.
I have. This is
okay,
what
good.
I have read. Yeah.
I don't want to set the bar too high and then have you not have read it before. But yes, Chet, you're here next week. We're not going to wear wife beaters. You can ask but not receive. I got some tank tops. We might pull tank top. I can do a tank top. But yeah, so Chet and my channel and God Loves, Man Kills, one of the greatest X-Men books ever written. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't read it, if you haven't taken the time, go find one, go check it out, go read it. It is worth the time. Usually it's found in large graphics novel size and absolutely worth any price you can find for it. Several printings available. So this here is a fifth. Whoa! I just dropped something else. This is a fifth printing.
You're like
I didn't drop
things,
this.
you know?
I'm gonna break my 9/8 fifth printing signed by Chris Claremont. Yeah, I've been drinking.
Don't have.
But yes, we'll be back on my channel next week.
See, this is why we're really going 2 hours. Is the drinking is they come in.
What I dropped was I dropped a Moira.
Oh no!
Sorry, Moira. Get back on the wall.
Don't have done that.
Yeah.
All right, gang. All the links are in the description. Make sure you're subbed up, following, smash that like button on the way out. Until next time, we will talk to you later.